Okay. So. Riff and
Shuffle. Nash, did you want to finish what you were saying about how you really wanted to see Ron DeSantis's feet like real bad?
Dude, all I'm saying is he's got those giant shoes. Like, he's got to have some crazy grippers. Those grippers got to be crazy.
Wearing those heels, imagine the power his toes gotta have. Constantly slapping the pavement like that.
I need him to slap something else with his toes.
Are broken.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
His toes are broken.
His feet are so powerful, he like tore his Achilles. Just trying to walk.
Winces in pain with every step.
So hard, just rips back his foot.
Just each step, blood vessels popping out from trying to not show pain.
It explains so much about him. It explains so much about him.
The stone face of him, like
he's like trying so hard that every step he poops his pants. It's just like,
yo, wait, hold on.
They're not. Did y'all
see the Twitch streamer that got clout because he stuck a fork in a toaster that was plugged into the wall?
I did see that.
And then he did two and he shit himself midair.
And then he pooped himself.
Just like me!
You shit yourself midair from sticking a fork in a toaster? What?
Hey, let's be real.
I've been
saying
Imagine experimented a little. What else is college for, alright?
What? Other than shitting yourself from sticking a fork in
I feel like
you
it's
should
for,
know,
and I mean
you're in
this.
a doctorate program. You should know more than the three of us.
I feel like of all the things college is for, this might be one of the very things it isn't for. Like that might be one of the very,
look,
things.
That I got friends who in my frat, they made a game out of chucking fruits at each other. But the key here was that you had to have your back turned to whoever was chucking the fruit at you. So.
No!
Colleges were a lot of things, like getting pegged in the spine with a giant orange.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I should have ended that sentence earlier. Colleges were a lot of things, like getting pegged.
With a giant...
in the spine.
Oh.
Orange. Oh man, I think my headphones just unplugged. Can't hear a gosh dang.
All right, we gotta talk shit about him. He's just so
don't say it, don't say it. No, don't say it. No. He's so mean. No. I know he's gonna say bad stuff.
He's so handsome. And... Anyway.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
And I got a real smile. I got a nice little smile. You're like, you stop. Guys, stop. All right, intro. After 7 minutes. Almost 8. Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Riff and Shuffle once again. I'm here, as always, forever, in eternity, with Nash and Scarlet. This is the show where we will be dragging up discourse that is weeks old and dead because we want to make sure people hear our opinions, like any normal 3 white guys with a podcast would do.
We matter more than you.
It's just, that's our slogan.
White guys aren't talking about their opinions. If white guys aren't talking about their opinions on the internet, what else is the internet
What is it for?
Like,
How will problems be solved? Who's gonna hear what I think about something that doesn't matter?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for anyone that's not up to date, or people that are listening in the future back, recently, the past week or two, there's been a lot of drama surrounding the upcoming release of Maze of Millennia, which includes a card called Bonfire, which is just reinforcement of the army for pyro monsters. And it pre-sold at 60, then was relisted at 70, and then 80, and then 90, all the way up to $130. So it created a little bit of a disturbance in the force, as one might say. The force being my pants as I shit myself watching that happen, knowing that I really wanted to play Snake Eyes going into the next format. So go ahead,
folks.
Folks.
Not only is it a worse rota because it's a hard once per turn, it loses it's a dumb card. Like, so let's be realistic here. What you're doing with Bonfire is searching the card that searches the card that searches the card that sets the card that searches the card that starts your combo.
This is true. Well, currently, once Phantom Nightmare releases, it searches the card that specials itself and then does stuff as well. So when Populous releases, then Bonfire won't just be Droll Bait or Ash Bait. At that point, it becomes like actually pretty good, because
by that time, yeah, but by that time, enough boxes of Maze of Millennia is going to be opened that, like, my understanding of economics, if Yu-Gi-Oh is to follow the laws of supply and demand, the supply will go up, and, well, like, the demand will go up, but, like, there will be so much more in circulation that it being at $130 on release is not only stupid, but it is asinine, dumb, and frankly, quite ridiculous.
Totally agree.
Another thing, it is pee, it is poo, it is butt, and it is balls.
And I'll say something that Scarlet's too scared to say. It's also cum.
It's true. I've never heard him say that word.
He's never said it. Just confirming here. We have the behind the scenes information.
I don't know how.
He does. When he says
every time I try, I'll try. Hot dog jelly. See, it won't come out.
Even when you're inviting someone over, you say, "Get over here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've arrived.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, get over here, because I can't say well to our home.
Y'all be afraid to be yelling in your girl's ear. I'm over here like, I'm arriving!
Arrive this way, please.
Come. No, I was gonna say come forth. You can't say that.
Arrive forth.
Arrive. Get over here! You just throw a fucking knife at them.
Let me beckon unto thee.
Oh, okay, but on the price discourse,
yeah.
I just want to throw out, I think where this gets lost as far as it being an argument for some people is it's got layers.
Mm-hmm.
One, people are not upset about...
So true.
We
just all froze. The pause button was hit right there. Holy shit. I've never seen that happen. You got 3 white dudes that won't shut the fuck up, and all it takes is like an ogre. We're just like, huh?
Dang, it's so true. I
Stun
don't even
lock.
have a response.
Yeah, that's a stun lock. Yeah, you're right.
Dang, that's so true.
Anyway, so it's got layers like an ogre. Like
okay, so it's got layers because a lot of people misunderstood I hate even just like how this word's being overused, but it is discourse. I think people misunderstood this as like being mad at specifically Bonfire. That is the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonfire. And then people wanted to be like, yeah, well, other cards have been expensive too. Bonfire's not that bad. And it's like, I hear what you're saying. You're right. There are cards that are more expensive. But the issue is that this comes down to how cards are printed and released. And as far as like rarity distribution, because of the artificial scarcity that's created, which, you know, and then you dive into the like, well, it's going to go down. It'll go down to like $60-ish is what people are predicting. Again, they don't know the future. It might not. But to say that $65 is now cheap is where we now run into another issue where how are we defining cheap? Because that's different for everybody. So the discourse just makes no sense because I'm sure to the person with a disposable income that just this is their only hobby or like their main hobby, and I'm not saying that as a dunk, by the way, just like this is what you enjoy to do, this is what you like to spend your money on, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure 65 is like great, you know, but to the average person, I did a little poll, even $30, $20 is really expensive for a card you need 3 of to play in a deck to push it to a competitive level. Because then we dive into the other layer now, which is, well, Yu-Gi-Oh may not be exclusively expensive, but to play competitively, it is. And then we dive into all these other arguments that don't hit the problem that I think everybody could agree on, is that we all would love for cards to be slightly cheaper on release so that they're more accessible for everybody to play. And for me, what I ran into was that the people who don't think this either enjoy playing the Market Watch game, they enjoy playing the stocks of Yu-Gi-Oh, and they don't want that to change because then you can't scalp cards as easily by predicting what's going to be good. You have to physically go buy product and try and pull the Ultra Giga Charizards that are going to be the true chase card rather than try and get, you know what I'm saying? So like there's that aspect, and then there's like people that do just invest their money to play, no problem, but that's not necessarily the norm. And it is my personal opinion that I'm sorry if you're going to lose money on this, but you should not be looking at a card game as your investment portfolio. I'm sorry, it's just not, your cards are not there to hold value. I think I should say the competitive game pieces of the game should not. If you want that, that's when I think investing in a game means you're going to do more collector's items. And I think that's something that has to fundamentally change on a couple levels, is we really should just have the OCG / Pokemon TCG rarity model. And then they should just, if you want to make chase cards to sell sets that are worth a lot of money for these champions of making profit online with card games for some reason, make it the super giga rare whatever version of a card that's not a competitive piece, or at least make it an ultra giga starlight version that's optional to purchase of a staple if you're still going to do that. If people want to really bling out, you know, because some people like that. Some people want to bling out a competitive deck, and I get that. But that's my rant on it. Feel free to throw your thoughts in, folks. Caleb got this earlier from me. That
was the abridged version. We've already talked about this for at least an hour.
Yeah. I didn't want to commandeer the whole conversation, so I'm going to stop myself, and I don't want to just completely rant. I'm sorry.
Nash, your rebuttal?
No.
So hypothetically, let's say for the sake of argument.
Let's say hypothetically. No, I think you're totally right. And I remember a friend of mine who does play the Pokemon TCG competitively once told me that you can tell which Pokemon players were previously Yu-Gi-Oh players that came into the Pokemon TCG because they will always have the blinged out max rarity Pokemon decks. And like that's a telltale sign. The moment you see somebody with a higher rarity Pokemon deck, you know immediately that they came from Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's our mindset. We think like shinier the better, essentially. Whereas Pokemon has such a low barrier to entry that like we've seen before, under $100 you're going to get a tier 1 meta defining Pokemon deck and be able to play competitively. Which I will also say, like, Pokemon doesn't get its money from its like card game players. It gets its money from its card game collectors, and I feel like the Pokemon TCG is such a small part of the Pokemon IP that like they look at it differently than Konami does with Yu-Gi-Oh. But we can adopt that same model and still, like, the more easily accessible a product is going to be, the more people are going to buy it, thus resulting in Konami making more money. Like, if it means that I buy a box, I can get all of this stuff, like the Rarity Collection. with the, I don't know if we're going to talk about this later on in this podcast episode, but the Rarity Collection 2, the fact that it hasn't even been like 3 months since the Rarity Collection came out, and they've already announced Rarity Collection 2, that shows how much money they made off of Rarity Collection 1. And so hopefully going forward, probably like fingers crossed that within the next year, 2 years, Konami completely changes how they do their sets, because they've noticed, oh wow, if we print multiple rarities of the same cards and they're good cards, more people are gonna buy our product because it is worth it to them to get these cards. And like you said before, you shouldn't be looking at competitive cards for the market game. That should be a collector's market. Like,
yes,
there shouldn't
That's what I
be
was trying to say.
the
Yes.
market for like competitive players and casual players. There should be the card market, and then there are the collectors. And the collectors are the ones who are making money off of this because they're getting the collector's items. This shouldn't be your income, your main source of income, or your side hustle, side gig shouldn't be your hobby.
Yeah. So the point of the Pokemon piece, to my understanding, you know, and I'm not super into the Pokemon game, you can get the current best deck Charizard for like $120. The fact that you can get an entire deck for the price of a Bonfire presale is just
Wanted.
absurd. Yeah, for a wanted current price. It's really funny that you mentioned the Pokemon thing, because I bought a Pokemon deck early last year, and you know, may have spent more than I needed to specifically to get some nice looking Lugias for the deck. Given I love Lugia as a card, and I'm pretty sure I've hardly played the deck, if at all, and I'm pretty sure the deck's rotating out, so you can't play it anymore. But I don't care, because I really like how the cards look anyway, and so you know, there's a little bit of that for me as well. I grew up with that stuff, but that's one of the interesting points that, and this is something that I want to reference a good bit. RJ, they just put out a video today, like a couple hours before we filmed this. Incredible video.
I haven't had the chance to see it.
I don't think either of you have watched it.
I did see that you
I
tweeted
watched
that
it.
No, I haven't yet.
I watched it. It's fantastic.
I was driving.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I think it's something that will always be applicable until Konami changes how they function as a company. So you viewer, listener, if you're interested, go check it out. The RJB0, incredible video. But one of the things that they pointed out is like, yes, Pokemon doesn't make a majority of their profit for the trading card game off of the competitive players. It's from the collectors. And it's like, now Pokemon is a way larger property than Yu-Gi-Oh, just like point blank. However, Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami has not taken their property and used it in a way that actually is effective to generating revenue off of those collectors. Like, they continue to nostalgia bait the fuck out of these sets. They reprint cards, or they make new cards that nobody gives a fuck about because it's all nostalgia bait. But then at the same time, they're not using the property to actually sell to people that would want to then buy those products and engage with the game in that way. Like, I think about the Tins, which from 2 years ago, which imported a bunch of DM and Blue Eyes support. And I remember people like, who the fuck cares? It's like that. The Tins was not the right time for that. That should have been a dedicated Blue Eyes Dark Magician set or something like that. I think people would have been totally fine with that. It's like, if they are clear, like, this is nostalgia bait, this is for the people that want these sets, instead of, oh, let's reprint the first 5 sets for the 25th anniversary and that's how we'll get the nostalgia people. It's like, no, nostalgia bait with like product that people will be interested in. They can build their pet DM Blue Eyes deck, whatever it is. Like, why are we putting I can't remember the name of the card, but there's some quarter century fusion you could only get as a QCR in like Agov or Dune or something like that, and I don't even know what it is. But why did they print it in that? Like, is some person who grew up watching the DM anime gonna be like, I gotta buy a box of Agov now that I know that I can get the crazy shiny Dark Magician fusion in it? Like, no one's gonna give a shit. Like, the fact is that Konami is just fumbling this property because they need to approach it the way that Pokemon does. Like, properly bait if you're gonna bait. If you're gonna do it, actually do it in a way that's gonna be like beneficial. You know, when they print, you know, insane, cool, hard to get Charizard or whatever, they do it in ways that benefit not just, you know, themselves, but also their competitive game, and make it so people outside of the game want to actually go get those cards. And obviously it's a little bit of a different culture, so it's easier for them to do that because you gotta catch them all. Just, you know, it's Pokemon, the largest franchise in the fucking world. Like,
yeah,
it's obviously different, but there are ways that Konami could address and manage their properties differently to actually not only bring in new players that are going to engage with the property again, but also benefit the competitive players that have kept this game alive for as long as it's been alive, because clearly it's not, you know, the fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! That don't give a shit except for Bat Chest, normal or tribute summon Dark Magician. Like, that, they are not the ones keeping the property alive at this point. It's the people that are actually playing the game. And so if they're going to nostalgia bait, if they're going to do this stuff, they should do it in a way that makes sense, as opposed to make sure to buy the platinum plated Dark Magician certified with Dark Magician cum or whatever. Like, you gotta go get.
We're almost out. You better get this now. We've been almost out for
months. Like, clearly no one cares about those products, so they need to make good products. Like, if it's as simple as reboot fucking DM, that would be cool. I think if they rebooted it and they made a series of products that went alongside it, and you could kind of go back through those steps with a lower power, almost GOAT era, you know, type of the game that reprints cards relevant to, you know, that era to make GOAT more accessible. Or they bring in some of the newer stuff so that you can have a little bit higher power DM era, where it's like, what if Yugi uses Illusion of Chaos to then add Magician's Soul to hand to then special summon or whatever. Like, that would be kind of cool, because you could see these characters that have never popped. Yeah, it's like, what if we went back through? What if we rewrote the history and made these, you know, a little bit more interesting, like Dragon Ball Z Kai type shit, or Shippuden.
Yeah, if they like did that and rebooted the series with that in mind, that would bring in all of the people who would watch that due to nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Would watch
it
and then be like, this is how, and then they could see that and be like, oh, so this is how the game is actually played.
Yeah.
And then that would make it easier for them to come into the game.
They made them easier to come.
I think this would do to arrive. It would be actually really beneficial to do this as well for content creators. Like, imagine, like, not that we are their bread and butter, but we do help keep the game going, even with these critiques. And, you know, like, as much as I want to critique them, I still play the game. It's not that I'm just like, we should not buy anything that they... I'm not, like, that far into it, but I do think we do need to be vocal about change. Talk with your money. Buy Rarity Collection, because it was a good set. Don't buy a set that you think is bad. I think the issue too that does happen with not the entire Yu-Gi-Oh audience, but we talk so much, and then what do? We buy it all anyway because we can't not. People, and I don't mean everybody, but enough people still do, because they can't miss out on getting those pulls and trying to make money, or just trying to get them for a deck. Whatever your reasoning is, it's all over the map. Who cares? But they see the sales and they're like, okay, yeah, like, I'm sure they read. I'm sure they see. In fact, they've proven that they do read social media of at least a few of us. And it's like, they know probably when we're not happy. But at the end of the day, I don't think every corporate person in a chair is reading content creators' Twitter. I think they see this sold, this didn't sell. And I think that's really what needs to happen is we need to talk with our money. Otherwise, this isn't anything. But, you know, that was a bit of a tangent within this tangent of content creators. Like, rebooting DM and doing that, I think would really help give content creators a reason to boost these nostalgia things. Because these nostalgia things come out, and it's just very much like remember Yugi and Kaiba? And it's
Like
like, what do we do?
Like R.I.P. They lived great
But
lives.
I mean, we haven't revisited that story in over a decade, right? So it's like, well, I guess like Bonds Beyond Time was like kind of a thing, right? Or no, I guess they did I don't remember when that movie came out, but I guess that was like 2016 maybe. It's like almost a decade.
Yeah.
I don't remember when the one movie came out with Cubic or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. He's not a monster. He's a god.
He's a god. Yeah.
Artist
Epic
line in
line.
anime.
Make more movies like that. That was incredible. I loved that moment. Like, make more of those if you're going to push because I understand marketing wise why they're pushing the Yugi Kaiba stuff just sprinkled into random, like they just keep on being like Dark Magician 14. Like, I get why they're doing it, because the average fan that is our age, like we are an outlier of people who, I think GX might be an exception, but after GX, a lot of us didn't really continue to watch the anime until later. And I know there are a few that still stuck with it, but that is not like the average Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyer or someone that remembers Yu-Gi-Oh nostalgically does not think about 5Ds and forgive me for the other one, the Xyz one. Zexal and
or
RV. And I heard RV, Brains, and I heard RV and Brains were fantastic, but you know, that just didn't reach the audience that they think it did. And so I think, yeah, like it's almost like they don't know their audience, and I don't even mean that as a dunk. I don't mean it as like they don't know, like it's like genuinely though, like the folks that remember this, yeah, they're correct that they remember Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Exodia, the God cards, all of that, but they don't, a 25-plus-year-old now, or 20, even like 22 to 20, whatever, doesn't have a reason to engage with that material in any way at this point. Like, it's long over. So until there is an interest peaked, there's just nothing, like, cool. Like you said, Caleb, it's just like, oh, great. But why would I buy Agov just to get
exactly
this random, you know, like I have nothing to engage with. Am I going to recognize other cards in this set from the show that you could have made? No, there's nothing. There's nothing for me to relate this to. So it's just like the casual audience, I think, needs more of a buy-in. And there isn't one for the casual audience.
What's so fucked up is like Konami has fumbled this bag at such a epic proportion, because y'all remember when Twitch streamers were playing Master Duel? I remember watching Ludwig, Fuslie, Sykkuno playing that shit, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And some of them,
Sykkuno went to YCSs, like participated in actual paper Yu-Gi-Oh because of Master Duel, but then was like, this isn't fun. Like, I can't.
Yeah, well, so
like,
between that,
Team Sam desperately tried to get Sykkuno like actively involved in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but he got to a point where he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, well, and Sykkuno and Fuslie, I'm pretty sure, both, I would just randomly see that they were live streaming Master Duel like months after basically everyone else had fallen off of it. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm glad that they're sticking with it. And then you tune in and they're tribute summoning Blue Eyes. And, you know, they're using like Alternative Dragon and Jet Dragon or whatever, but they're still basically just like, I want to tribute summon Blue Eyes. Like, that's what's cool to me. And that's awesome. I think that's still wonderful.
Yeah.
And like they had that. And then I remember seeing that they were doing an LGS or an OTS tournament of creators playing like this weird fucked up GOAT format. And it was like, this was really cool. And you got to see these creators engaging in it. And like, yeah, they didn't know quite what was going on, and they didn't play optimally, and they didn't know how to resolve cards' effects, but that's fine, because that's the fun of playing the game and learning it. And the fact that Konami so catastrophically fumbled this bag by making Master Duel unapproachable and not giving a real route for these players that are brand new to get in and get engaged in ways that are meaningful to them, it makes me legitimately sad. because I know how awesome this could have been, and we could have had these great people engaging with this property that we care about meaningfully, but there's just no reason for them to, because it's so incomprehensible. Like, you just don't know what's going on, and unless you're like so neck deep in it. You're talking about, like, you know, people that grew up watching this shit. I've never seen any Yu-Gi-Oh anime except for Vrains.
I didn't know. I didn't want to.
No,
assume.
but no.
Like,
You're
maybe
good.
maybe
You're good. But just like, I got into the game because I grew up wanting to engage with it, but never could. And it took someone, one of my good friends, Ian, being like, "Hey, let's do a progression series." And I was like, "Sure, I'll do this," because I was like Twitch streaming at the time, and I was like, "Cool, sure, let's do that." And I fell in love with the game. And I fell in love with what was actually there because I didn't have this preconceived notion of what it could be and what it should have been. So in order to get people to that point, they first need to get them over the horse of, like, what it isn't. Give them something to engage with, and if they want to get further, they can. But otherwise, they can stay right there. Stay at GOAT. Stay at Edison. Stay at Tengu Plant. Whatever format you want to. Just give them the opportunity to actually engage with that, and in a platform like Master Duel that's accessible, because going to an OTS is horrifying if you don't know how to play the game. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people take for granted.
I do know how to play the game, and I still am, like, anxious going to an OTS, like an LGS, anything, where I don't know. I'm like, I don't know that many people here.
Yeah.
What if I do something stupid?
Yeah, it's why I go to one shop, and it's half an hour away from me, and that becomes like an hour drive when I go, because I have to go during like peak traffic hours. And I still do it because I love the people there. They're super fun. It's a great store. And I feel comfortable enough to be there. But I still am like I went and played Edison for the first time in a little while, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I was like, I could feel the nerves. And this is an 8-person pod. It's like not that big of a deal. I know 7 out of the 8 people there in some capacity, but I'm playing against a guy I don't know. He gives the vibes that he knows this way better than I do. And so I'm just like I just got nervous out of nowhere because of that. And like, that is I think that's like the new player experience. I haven't played a lot of Edison. I'm not familiar with the format. When a dude rocks up and it seems like that backer is probably bottomless or whatever, I'm like, how did you know? Like, whatever. Like, it's a horrifying experience to play against people that know what they're doing with someone that doesn't know.
And I gotta say, just like, I had a horrifying first experience at a card shop when trying to get into this game around 2016. And I just gotta, like, this is, if you know how to play the game and you got a suspicion that someone across the table from you doesn't, just be cool. Okay? Like, just be cool. Like, I showed up with my garbage. I bought 2 of the, like, junk synchron structure decks, and I put them together. And I was like, I didn't fully understand, like, building boards or anything. I just wanted to go play Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was my 2 friends in college that you both met while you were with me in Indy. I don't know if they want me to, like, say that, so I'll just leave. But you met them while you were here.
Just say their addresses out loud.
Right. Just leave. Yeah.
It's a 645.
But we all went together, and we were all kind of in the same boat. I think one out of us, whom was not me, had been playing a little longer, had slightly more knowledge, but like not that much more. And we got there, and we're very clearly like underpowered players. We didn't quite understand, and this was like Zoo came out this day, by the way. And we just got absolutely cooked the whole time and kind of looked down upon. Like, I didn't even have a playmat. I didn't know you were supposed to have a playmat. And so instead of being nice, though, they got very condescending, and they like rolled their eyes and they're like, can someone just get him a playmat? Like, and made me feel very just like, sorry for being here, like, and on top of it, the gameplay, like, I had no idea what was going on. They would like predict what I was going to do and point out how bad my deck was to me. Like, very just like, it was just very not good. I did not go back. We did all collectively did not go back for about 1.5 years. We played only with each other. We would have our own nights, get together. We would build different decks and only play together. We decided like, okay. And then from here, I actually had a really sour taste in my mouth for what I thought was the competitive player. And like, you know, I was the guy who was the casual elitist in the comments back in these days. Just I thought every competitive player was evil because I thought they all acted like this because everyone here did at this place. And I was just like, and obviously I learned I was wrong later, and that's not true. And obviously I don't believe this anymore.
I do believe
Well,
this,
to be fair,
but like,
yeah,
I used to pride myself. This was like really pre-content creator me, but like I used to really pride myself on being not like them and bringing, you know, in a different way than I do now, like thinking I was playing Nod meta and better because I'm not like them. In a really serious, like
you.
like truly just was hurt by them, and that was the real issue, right? And so just be cool if you're at a card shop and you like you will create these casual elitists if you're a jerk. Like you will create these people that we all know are annoying, and like that was me for a little. Like you will create those people if you, I mean, truthfully, like I know it sounds silly, and I don't mean to like be melodramatic. If you hurt them, you know they're gonna react. And you know, and we left feeling very hurt by this place, and we didn't want to go back.
Yeah, and it's
you know, and
people drive away new
player experience.
It's like no wonder the game might be dying. Like some people think that the game is dying. It's like no wonder.
This is why I have a little bit of a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to go into too much of a rant.
So when my friends and I in high school first got back into the game, as in like we were actually learning the rules and playing. Instead of like a playground format, we played like what I call study hall format, because we were all like between the ages of 16 and 18 learning just amongst ourselves. And we like learned about band list, learned about deck building, learned about all that stuff. And so there was like, of just my high school, there was like a group of 15, 16 of us, which is impressive.
Damn, that's a locals.
Like, we've never gone to a locals, and there's just like 15 of us that are just moving from study hall to study hall, playing essentially like unofficial constructed tournaments with each other, just to like play around, play test, practice, and like get better at learning how the game works. And there were a couple of times where we would all go to a locals, and I'm the only friend. I've got two friends that are interested in like getting back in the game. One of which, he works for the Peace Corps, and he's in Zambia right now, and he's building up a Yu-Gi-Oh community in Zambia because he misses the game so much. Which I think is the coolest thing ever.
That's insane.
Yeah, he like called me on Facebook, and he's like, "Hey, what is the meta looking like right now? Like, what's the game?" And so I sent him a few videos, I sent him a few decks, and he's like, "I think I can realistically and reasonably buy like a couple of these decks." And he's got like a whole bunch of decks, and he's using it to like teach people how to play the game. And so he's getting back into it, and another one of my friend is interested in getting back into it. And so seeing that they're still interested is nice, but of like the 15 or 16 of us, I'm the only one who's like still going through it, and it's because they all had such negative experiences at our locals that we went to the point that like there's 3 people who were at our locals when we were in high school. Thankfully, they're not part of this community anymore, unless they moved. But I haven't seen them at any of the 5 or 6 locals that exist here since I've moved back home. But to this day, there's these 3 guys who are like the good players, and my entire friend group from high school, we don't know their names because we would just refer to them as Chinstrap Douchebag, Greasy Hair, and Skinny Dick.
Oh yeah, I was the third one.
And that's just how there was like there was this one dude, this tall skinny dude who wore a beanie, and he was just a dick. So we were like, "You're Skinny Dick." There was this like greasy haired like Machina Harakiri player who was just, you know, also a douche. And then there was this chin strap, like this dude with like the chin strap beard who would like, you know, do like the predatory preying, like a vendor, like a predatory vendor sort of thing, where he's like, "I value your cards."
I was going a different way.
I value your
much
cards
worse
at
way.
25%. Yeah,
Oh no.
at 25% of what they're worth, but I value mine at 125% of what they're worth. And one of my friends who like currently is a lawyer right now and is a very large, scary, intimidating dude, is like the only person that I ever saw like call him out on it, and he was like, "Why?" He's like, "You think that this is realistic?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, because my cards have value." And he's like, "Everything that I own in my life, I know for a fact, has more value than anything you are as a person." And did not go to locals ever again after that. He's like, "I don't want to talk to that dude ever again."
Cook him, deserved.
And so, like,
wow,
just to think that, like, that Yu-Gi-Oh community of when I was in high school, none of those people still play Yu-Gi-Oh now, and I think it's because of how toxic that community became. And thankfully now, like, now the Buffalo community is, there's like some very competitive people, but it is overall a pretty positive experience. I usually see like once or twice a month, I will see new faces who regularly start showing up more. Like, there's this 10, 11-year-old kid that started coming like regularly on Tuesdays. His deck's not the greatest, it's not the best, but most of the people, if they have finished their match, they'll like, they won't like coach him to the point that he'll like win by essentially cheating from coaching, but it's like, we'll help him out. If we pull a card that's good for his deck, we'll, you know, like, we'll just give it to him and be like, "Hey, this is what you need. Like, play with this, learn it, figure it out." And even whenever any of us are his opponents, we won't like let him win, but we will use it as a like very in-depth teaching opportunity. And it's very positive in that sense that if you want to learn how to play the game, like, the whole local scene, we're going to work together. Like, 90% of us are going to work together so that, like, you can become a better player, so that you can learn the game. And I love seeing that. Since I started making my way back into the game in 2017, the majority of the locals I've gone to, I have seen that, which is very nice from, like, when I was in high school, where it was actively going against that. And I think there is some shift, because people are realizing, hey, we need to stop being so toxic, so elitist. At least I hope, you know, I'm going forward with, you know, like, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, it's a game we love. And I very
Mine got
much
better,
want
by the
to
way.
see...
Just as a... It got better.
Good.
Yeah.
I like, since we love the game, I see that you are developing an interest in this game. I really want you to love it as much as I do. Like, be a part of our community. And I think that we need to do that, and that Konami is not doing a good job of that. Going back to what Caleb was saying.
Yeah.
We did it, dude. We all got ADHD. Isn't that crazy?
I'm gonna make it worse. It's crazy that we all seem to have like bad local stories, because, you know, there's a local store that I think I basically just refuse to ever go back to. And it's not because I was a bad player that didn't know what they're doing and got bullied. It's not because, you know, I was scared or whatever. Like, I went there 2 times. It's a local store in the Atlanta area, and it was on my way to, you know, my school, and I realized, like, oh, holy shit, it's right there. I could just go there after school one day and play. So I went one night. I went 0-3 and then got a bye, so I left. Did not play well. You know, I was a little nervous because it's a new place. I'm like, I'm gonna go back on Sunday, because they do 2 times a week, and I'm like, I'm gonna play. It'll be like middle of the day. I won't have just gotten out of class. I won't be starving. Like, I'll play better. And I'll also fix up my deck a little bit, because I like threw it together the morning before, or the morning of, or something like that. I got second place. I lost to a guy who had just topped a regional. So I'm like, there's a little bit of like intimidation factor there, but he's a good player. Oh yeah. And to my understanding, he is fairly competitive, and he's within, you know, the kind of circle of people that take the game fairly seriously in the Atlanta community. I'm not super in the Atlanta community. I got like the one store I go to now, but to my understanding, he's fairly competitive. Only guy I lost to. It was the only game that really was close. And I never went back, and I have no intention of, because during that locals, there was one player who, admittedly, he was on Vanadium, and I opened Droll against him, and that's just kind of how the deck is. I learned Vanadium this past week, and it sucks to have Droll activate against you on that deck. But legitimately, after 15 minutes, like he sat there after I activated Droll for this, like the third time I think in 2 games. It was like, I'm sorry, it's just I'm playing the game. This is what the cards I have, and he's just like, I'm not playing anymore. And he just like packed up his cards pretty much, and we just sat there for the next 30 minutes or whatever. And I was like, wow, this feels awful, because this guy just, I understand it sucks, but like just being like he's in the middle of his turn, he's like, you know what, I don't want to play this anymore. And he just packed up his shit. I'm like, okay. What was worse, though, was this guy that I played in finals, competitive player, apparently somewhat known in the community, because I talked about this guy with another player at the locals I go to now. He's like, oh, yeah, I know him. He and the guy I just finished playing against just start bullying the fuck out of this guy that was there. He must have been barely 18, if he was 18. He clearly had some sort of mental disability or some sort of social, difficulties. And they were just bullying the shit out of him, telling him his parents didn't love him, like just insane shit. And I was like, all right. And so that stuck with me into the finals of like, holy fuck, these people are awful. Just to like start. And then randomly I hear a transphobic slur dropped, and I'm like, all right, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
At the one guy that I had played,
Perfect.
he was my round 1. Like, so nice. We had a great game. He was on lab. It was, he had kind of just pieced it together. It was a little, it was like the floodgatey version when Furniture Lab was just, like starting to become more meta relevant. But we had a great game. He was fun to play with. And after that match was like, I think I could enjoy coming here. That was a really nice guy. Yeah. And then he got, a slur dropped on him because he was playing lab. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. You're like, I was like, I'm never going back. I literally,
wow.
I got second place. I won a box. I opened that shit. I traded away a bunch of stuff. I got my Rev Synchrons to then play Alistair, and I left, and I never came back. I never went back. And it made us like, I did not want to go. I'm a very like people, social, community oriented person. I always have been. And it was what I wanted so desperately about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I wanted to just have a community of people that I could talk about this game that I love with. And it's something I wanted for so long and always felt so anxious about actually engaging with in person because of these horror stories that I heard. So then to have that happen to me, I was like, I don't want to ever go to a shop again. The only reason I have a shop now is I literally was like, I have a small Twitter following. I'm just going to ask if anyone knows of any good local shops in the Atlanta area. And I had 2 different people recommend the same shop. No other shops got recommended. It was these 2. And I was like, that place is 30 minutes from me. I could do that. I
can do this.
I went, I met both of the people that had recommended it to me. They were wonderful. And I was like, yeah, I could keep going here. And they host 3 different locals a week. They do 3 different formats. They do Rogue, cool. Edison, and Advanced. I've been to an Advanced once, but I go fairly regularly for Rogue, and whenever I feel like I gotta go for Edison. And like, it's wonderful. I love that place. I love those people. But it's also so hard to go to because it's half an hour away, and it's hard to justify that, especially after a long day at school. And so I'm like, I'm back to like, damn, I can't engage in this community again because I just don't have capacity to do this frequently.
Right there with you. My new shop, because the one I described with the bad experience is not where I live anymore. Mm-hmm. That was like way back. We, for viewers, like the one I go to now, awesome, but same experience. They have locals, I believe, almost every night. And some of them are like different formats, one including like Heart of the Underdog. They have that at like during Wednesdays, I think. And like same idea. I've gone a couple times, loved it. Had not had any sort of like strange experiences. It was great. Everybody was super nice, including the owner, like learned my name right away. And I don't think they're aware of the fact that that I'm like, because I had a few people recognize me at the shop, but I don't think the owner was like, you're that, like, just knew my real name just from me being there, not like from like, hey, YouTube man. And that was awesome. And I was like,
this user's been doxxed by Darth Nash
startled
6.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy though. I was just buying cards, and the owner was like when I walked in, it was just like, insert my name. Got your cards ready that you ordered, and I'm like,
yeah.
I've only been here twice, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we remember people like, and I was like, that's so cool, and that really like struck me because it's not a small shop. Like they have a lot of people. Like that's like, I don't know, that struck a chord. So love this shop as well. But I cannot make it. It is about 25 minutes with traffic to get there from where I am. Traffic. And like, it's like, even on weekends,
it's so easy.
I'm like, man, I'm so tired.
No, I get it. It's
so
definitely a capacity thing for sure.
And it's like, you guys know I'm introverted too. So it's just like, do I feel like pretending to be an extrovert? Because I have to pretend I'm extroverted for the next 4 hours of being there, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And I don't want to be, my issue is I have this disease in my brain where if I don't feel like I can be a social 10, I don't want to try and be a 6. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard for me to engage socially. Thank you.
Are you from Indiana? Because you're the only 10 I see.
I'm going to kill you for real.
Are you from Mississippi? Because you're the only Miss I Pissy.
Mississippi.
We did it, folks. We had such a long, good, genuine conversation, and we're back to bits. Let's go.
Are you from Montana? Because you look like you might be from Montana.
Are you from Montana? Because you look like your name's Ted. Or French. That is the other alternative.
Oh, incredible. Oh, my God.
That one really got James. You got the bridge of the nose pinched there.
Oh, man. But folks, we hope this gives you hope that even if you do have a bad experience, you can, like, don't just give up. That's what my advice to new players is, like, find a new place to go, because not every place sucks. I thought that too. I thought this is how Yu-Gi-Oh players are. I'm not doing this again. And I had such a better experience from just going to a new place.
Yeah, and alternatively,
you know, and even at the, oh, go ahead.
Alternatively, Yu-Gi-Oh is such an online community that I guarantee chronically they can't shut up. They can't get off of Twitter. I know, it's me. It's me.
It's us.
But like, it's such an online community. I promise you, you can meet people online that would love to play with you. I want to talk about this later if we can get to it, because I want to give the floor back to you, Scarlet, so you don't forget whatever you're talking about. But I've been playing online recently with friends, and oh my God, it is wonderful. It is so nice just to be able to play the game, even if it's paper, even if it's Dueling Book or EDO Pro, whatever. It's just be able to engage with it with people that you're friends with is just so fun, even if it's not quite the same, because it isn't, but it's better than nothing.
It's not, but it's awesome. And I don't remember what I was going to say before.
Sorry,
and that's okay. It probably wasn't that important. No, don't worry about it. It probably was just me.
I'm an asshole. I'm so fucking stupid.
No, you're not. I don't need the floor all the time. But like, folks, the online community is how I met these two and how we became best buddies. Like, if you don't take the leap anywhere, you end up nowhere. And so like, this is great. They're going to be lifelong friends. Like, they've been at my home. I never thought that like me playing a card game and meeting these silly personalities that we were all at some point just trying to do YouTube, and like talking to each other mutually, we became actual friends, right? So like, it's don't be afraid to reach out to people. Not us. We're full. We don't like you. We don't want you. But other people.
I don't want any more friends.
Yeah, if any of my friends are watching right now, don't talk to me.
Yeah, same. All of my other friends, I'm sorry, but I'm full. I can't.
I'm full. I had a lot for dinner. All right.
It's a weird time. I actually haven't had dinner yet, but it's a weird time to bring this up. But I just think you ought to know. So
I hate
you with that what you will.
I think going off of that, I would have to say my experience with the game since like interacting more with people online on YouTube, Discord, Twitter, even Instagram. I've learned to love the game even more, and the community that the game has, the more involved I've gotten online. With just like only going to my locals and only being part of my locals community, I was like okay with it, but the more online I've gotten, the more chronically online I've gotten with it, but like I have had so much of a better experience, and I've met so many like cooler, happier, like I've gotten happier with the game. My little community, my community that I have has gotten bigger, and
gatekeeping.
Like, my connections with people have grown.
Yeah, fuck that guy, honestly.
No. Okay.
That guy, fuck that guy. Asshole. Just
For me, he's up
You're
there.
pointing at me right now.
But well, for me, I'm pointing at him. So I don't know what to tell you.
I'm right
both
here.
of them, actually.
Both fuck both of you.
Man, I've been saying this.
I've been saying this.
The Patreon episode, folks. That's where I cuss. That's where you'll find them. It's a joke. No, don't. Subscribe to our Patreon, and I will say, what was it? Arrive, but different.
But different.
It'd be so funny if this
alternative art.
He's saying the hard C.
Whoa! Cracker.
Why did you do it in the Siri voice?
Because that's how you said it. That's how you said it.
Me? I've never said it. I would never.
I'm sorry. I got a notification on Twitch that says otherwise.
No.
I actually hold on. I got a Windows like OneDrive, like a Microsoft OneDrive notification. Like you're like, this day in your past couple of years, and I was like, I'll click on it. And what do I see but the fucking sidewalk of like had to do it to him, and it's empty. I'm like, I know what that is, and I click on it, and then out of nowhere, King Scarlet appears and goes, Cracker. I was like, yeah. It was so funny. So
Incredible.
So for people that don't know, I've got this little video of what I just described, and whenever I stream on Twitch, you can click a little button that redeems channel points to make that animation play, that little video. And when I had the idea to put it up there, because I was trying to put more stuff into my little software that does that, I remembered this video, and I was like, I gotta find that. I was like, I don't remember when I made it. I don't remember what I titled it. I don't know. I'm just gonna look up Cracker in my search bar, and
first thing that pops up.
It popped up immediately. Cracker.mp4.
Listen, folks.
Occasionally,
I enjoy a salty snack without yeast, so that it did not rise.
Mm-hmm.
You might
a salty snack such as Arrive. That was a risky one to take a shot for, but it landed. Let's go.
Yeah, so sometimes community works out, other times it doesn't.
Yeah.
In my case,
hate these guys. Nash 2 actually, collateral damage. So I don't
know what I was thinking.
For people that if you don't have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh friends, just interacting online, I promise you, you'll just meet random people. How I met this dude and how I met Scarlet was you were posting videos of you dancing in the replies to MCS.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So not MCS, the Chalice Slime Monthly, CSM.
Chalice Slime Monthly. Please give me attention.
Yeah, MBT would play EDM music, copyright-free EDM music, and it was just you just started dancing, and I was like,
I don't know why I did it.
I don't know either, but I saw that. I was like, it'd be really funny if I like green screened you, like I rotoed you out, and then stick it onto the MCS like waiting screen. And so I did that, and I replied, and then I just kept doing it for each new one, and I kept layering them, and then I think I don't remember how it ended up happening. I could probably look at our DMs and figure out. But somewhere along the way, I sent you a bunch of files so that you could use it in whatever.
Yeah.
And now, if you watch a King Scarlet video, at the very end, it's a little roto I did of you throwing your hat at your phone, and that's how every video ends. And that's how we met.
I love it. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Because you were like, "Oh, I can do a lot more than this if you want," and I was like, "I don't know you. I just don't want this to be like a situation where like I'm like, yeah, please work for me for free." Like, well, no, I was just like, this is really nice of you, human being, but like, you don't have to work for me for free. Like, I'm happy to like, you know. And you're like, no, I already did it. Actually, here they all are. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And then we just like kept talking about. Then you were like showing me like designs of stuff you were making for at the time when you were doing embroidery. And then I remember like conversation just kept going, and then we just like kind of became buds. And then you were showing up in my streams a lot for a little bit. Then you became like a mod there and on my Discord. That's just completely dead. It just doesn't. We don't do anything in there. But I kind of like it that way, to be honest. It's all right. I don't have to. It's less for me to maintain, honestly. Yeah, I don't have time to worry about if people are posting slurs or whatever in there. But
I've never done any mod tasks in there. I think I may have deleted an image or something that was a little weird, and that was it.
Yeah. There was like one time in the very short life of that, where like little like moments of creators just hopping in to self-promote, because there was like a channel for that, and then I kind of had to be like, hey, if that's all you do, maybe like don't like, I don't mind if you do it, but like be a part of the Discord too.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, and then it died. So you know, that's just kind of how it goes. But then from there, we just kept like doing little things, I think, together. And I don't really know. Just sort of the progression was pretty normal, but like we just like kept on being like content idea. Yeah. What if we did? Okay.
We do bits.
Yeah.
And then I was
cool.
like, hey, you want to do Farfalicious with me? And then
I was like,
made zero progress over like 2 hours, I think, in a voice call.
We did this. We did this essentially for 2 hours. We were like, oh yeah, we were gonna do what were we doing? Like a video or something?
Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah, Farfalicious. We need to. Yeah. Oh my god, Coca-Cola!
That's a deep cut.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we're having a moment right now. Nash is like, fuck these guys.
During this conversation, we were trying to write Farfalicious.
Yeah, no, I get that. Pepsi.
Caleb kept engineering ways to Coca-Cola jump scare me. And that just kind of became a thing he did for a little while, where the Coca-Cola logo would just be like big in my face. And then the next day after this conversation, I kid you not, I walked like my wife and I went into, I think, Target or something. There was Coca-Cola memorabilia everywhere, dude. And I was like, I took a photo and sent it to you, and I was like, what have you done to me? Very like the what did they do to us type of meme.
Coincidence? I think not.
It was crazy. Yeah, from there we were just friends.
Yeah, and then Nash,
it was great.
I did not know who you were. You came into my DMs on Instagram and you're like, hey, could you make a patch for me, like an embroidered patch? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. And I took your little logo and I made it a patch, and then I didn't hear from you. And then I just saw you on Twitter, and then we just started interacting, and I was like, that's the guy from the Instagram, right? I don't know. And then we're just friends. I was like, hell yeah. And then you asked me if you could room with me at Philly, and I was like, sure, man. Just don't kill me. Yet.
So you had done stuff for, I think you had done something for Crush Cards.
Yeah.
And you were also doing stuff for, you were starting to be more involved in Optimal with Gage, with Nim Nim.
Mm-hmm.
And so by that time, I had become pretty good friends with Crush Guards. I was starting to become friends with Nim Nim. And I was like, oh, this is this guy. I'm gonna look him up. His stuff looks really good. And so I'm going to, because at that point, I was starting to think of like, hey, should I start thinking of like possibilities of merch? Just so that I can like have that in the back of my head. And so that's why I messaged you, and you were like, yeah, I can do something like that. I was like, okay, cool. And then I think like the transmission in my car exploded. No, it was the brake lines in my car like all snapped.
Mm-hmm.
And like from one moment to the next. Yeah, from one moment to the next, I went from like a very like fiscally okay college student to I need to source funds so that I can have a form of transportation, and like it took me months to recover from that.
Yeah.
And so like that all happened at around the same time. And then I started seeing you on Twitter, and I was like, I think this is the same dude.
Yeah, because they're different names. Because they're different. I got Millennium Threads as the Instagram account, and then Caleb on Twitter. I don't use Millennium Threads Twitter.
Because like I think that Nim Nim had gotten like one of the Optimal clothes, and he had tagged you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, this is Caleb.exe Millennium Threads, and I was like, wait a minute. Yo, hold on. That's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thumbnail there, by the way.
And around the same time, I think I started seeing you, Scarlet, pop up in more circles, like community circles and stuff. Yeah. Like at the end of, I think I saw the whole, like, the MBT, like, and King Scarlet's here. Like, you were referenced in an MCS video. And I was like, okay, I think... So I'd started seeing some of your skits. And I was like, this is cool. I like that this guy's just, like, doing skits, and they're funny skits. I'm gonna start following him. And then I saw a couple of your videos. Like, this guy's funny. This guy's this guy... he brings me joy. And, like, I remember thinking, I was just like, this dude gives off, like, Lonely Island vibes. And I'm like, what is...
Yeah.
He's never escaping the allegations.
The girl I was, like, kind of dating at the time really liked Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And so I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine with her. And I was like, that's it. This guy is, like, basically Yu-Gi-Oh's Andy Samberg. And I remember I commented that on one of your videos. And I was like,
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, this dude is Andy Samberg. And so what I would do when I was at the gym, I would put on, like, your long-form podcast videos as I was going on the treadmill.
Those are terrible.
Yeah, and I was just like,
go to a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast.
Nice to, like, just like, listen. I was just like, this guy's videos are entertaining. So, like, this guy's just, like, fun to listen to. So I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna give him the views. I'm just gonna, like, have this as something going on while I'm on the treadmill. And then we started, like, I think I, like, messaged you for advice on how to, like, make TikToks. Because I was starting to I was starting to experiment with, like, TikTok shorts and reels. And you were one of the two people that I contacted, because it was you and another person. She's not as active anymore, but Heart of the Cards. She used to be, like, big TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. And I had become friends with her. And so I, like, contacted both of you, and you both gave, like, really good advice. And I was like, oh, sweet, this guy's cool. Like, not only is he, like, funny, he's a genuine person. I got the same vibe that I got from, like, Ruggles when I would ask for advice from Ruggles. And so I was like, this is awesome.
High praise.
Did I just get compared to Ruggles, dude?
Yes! Yes.
I've peaked.
And so
I've peaked.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, man, this King Scarlet guy is just cool. Like, I hope I can be friends with him at some point in the future. And then our first like, because we had like kind of talked a little bit on Twitter, and then I remember one day like I got invited into just this Discord server, and I looked back and I see that the message before I get invited is King Scarlet, like, yo, why isn't Darth Nash in this server? I was like, King Scarlet wanted me here? He wanted me? And then I stood up to bat for you because like some argument was happening and you said something that was reasonable and understandable. And so I kind of stood up, I was just like, hey, like, I know I've been in this server for like 3 days now, but King Scarlet is like definitely on the right side of this argument here. And you privately messaged me and you were like, thank you so much for being a normal person. You're like, thanks for sticking up for me.
I know.
Like, yeah.
I remember now who this was, and I was just like, what even? I don't even know, dude. And I was just like, am I insane? Like, just because no one was saying anything, and I'm like, I know y'all saw this. And like, I understand why you would not engage. Like, I get why you would not engage with this human being. But like, I was like, I feel like what I said was like not, like, you didn't need this reaction.
Yeah.
And then I messaged you. I'm like, dude, thank you, because I was like, am I evil? Like, am I doing a bad thing?
Am I being the weird person? Am I the wrong?
Because I know like for sure, but like now I know you guys would tell me. You have told me when I am in the wrong, and you know, but like I'm always open to hear, like, privately or even like whatever. Tell me, like, yeah, I don't think that was right. I don't care. It's fine, you know. But in this particular case, I was like, I've thought about this every possible way, and like I don't think what I said was unreasonable. And I remember you being the only one that was like, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. And I'm like, thank you, please help me, someone.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's totally reasonable for him to think this way.
Yeah.
And so
and I remember after that, I talked to you a lot about like yerba for a really long time. Like,
he takes a big
I would like
swig
send
of
him.
yerba.
I sent him a photo like every time I got like a can.
Yeah, because you asked me and you were like, "Hey, where can I buy this stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, you can get it at like Target, Sprouts, Whole Foods, like basically where rich white people who want to feel like they're more in tune with nature than they actually are, because that's who they market to." And to be honest, you know, going back to market practices, it's the granola white people. They're a fantastic like.
So what you're saying is that yerba mate canned is the bonfire of drinks?
When it's canned, you call it yerba mate.
Yerba mate. Yeah. Yerba mate.
Yeah, when it's
is that how they say it? It sounds so ethnic.
Yerba mate. Yeah, I like that a lot.
For our listeners, Nash just made the worst reaction I've ever seen.
I don't know how you did that with your face. Yeah. I don't know if your camera just captured it weird, like if you're in cinematic mode and the frames
was
just
crazy,
but it was like it looked like you were melting like a little bit. You know
I just do that.
Saying yerba awesome. Mate, it's like throwing water on the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes,
I'm melting.
Yeah, but I remember talking to you a lot, just like off and on. And just being like, yeah, this guy's really cool. Like, and I also hoped to become like better friends with both of you. Like, I think I already started to develop a friendship with, I'm pointing to where he is on my screen, with Caleb first, and then getting to know you through well, I saw that you like, you know, you get vibes from people. You gave me a good vibe on like Twitter. I saw like who you were interacting with and how, and then like I had watched a few of your videos finally. Like I had like just discovered you. And I was like, oh yeah, this person absolutely needs to be like what? It's weird that he's not here. And so then I could get to know you a little better through then. Because I always feel weird just like reaching out to people that I've just like not really had an organic interaction with. And so, like, it's not that it's bad to do this, but I personally am just like, well, they think I'm a weirdo. And so,
well, if I'm genuine, I might cry.
Yeah. So
that's kind
cool,
of how my like
over time.
Yeah, that's like kind of how I kind of like extended the hand of friendship to Caleb, though. And like, I didn't realize until afterwards that that's like 100% how it was. Because like we had interacted more on Twitter than really anything else.
Yeah.
Because I remember this was like, you still only had like 500 or 600 followers on Twitter, and you had 999. You were following 999 accounts.
Yeah.
And you were like, who's gonna be my 1000th account that I follow? And I think I like responded like, and you were like, absolutely correct, a banger, yes. And so like you followed me, and I was like,
I'm pretty sure what happened. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you would interpret it as I was almost at 1,000 and you followed me, and I then was like, I'm following you back, and now I'm at 1,000. Follow it. I could remember this wrong, but it's just like it was such a great interaction.
And so, but like
that would be a really
like,
funny bit to be like almost there.
I'm almost following 1,000 people.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And so like we had like responded to each other on like Twitter threads and stuff. But we like didn't really interact outside of Twitter besides that one Instagram interaction. And so we're both like pretty good friends with Chaotic Meatball. You know, for viewers, listeners, Chaotic Meatball, he's kind of like fringe of Yu-Gi-Oh community, but he's very involved with the Pokemon YouTube content creator. He does a lot of Pokemon challenges, really entertaining videos. I really like his videos, his content.
They're great.
And so he had messaged me saying, "Hey, do you have a place for YCS Philly yet?" And I was like, "No, the original people I was going to go with, everybody ended up backing out, so I like don't have anything anymore." And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to message Caleb.exe and see if he has room." And I was like, okay, thinking that like he had a good relationship with Caleb. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just message Caleb too. And so I just slide into Caleb's DMs on Discord. Like, first individual message between the two of us, I'm like, "Hey, yo, can I like room with you for YCS Philly?" And Caleb's like, yeah, sure, okay, haha. I'm like, okay, cool, that's taken care of. Thinking in my head, like, we've interacted a lot, we've got a good mutual friend with, you know, Chaotic Meatball. Now I'm learning that Caleb, on the other hand, is just like, man, I hope this rando doesn't kill me.
I did not know Chaotic Meatball that well at that time either. This was two people, and I was like I trust that this will go fine, but I'm like, I don't know these people that well. I'll have to go back and check Meatball and I's DMs around them, but I'm pretty sure like I think that may have also been one of the first times he had messaged me, because he had messaged me and given me a content idea, because I was doing I'd done the Master Duel speed run. He's like, "You should do this, but like this or like this," and I was like, "I like that idea," and I had fully planned to do it, and I bought the Wicked sunglasses. You know, I bought some knockoffs of those, so I could like speed run with that or whatever as a bit, or like do an intro with it.
Oh yeah. Never
Never ended up doing it. And now I have another speedrun series, so actually I should bring it back for that. But I'm pretty sure that he and I had actually, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we hadn't interacted that much. So I just got a message like, "Yeah, do you mind if we stay with you?" And it worked out perfectly, because I had a room where it was me, Conga Line Larry, and then another friend of ours, Shay. We were all going to stay together, and Shay had to back out last minute. And so y'all messaged me, and I was like, this actually works out great, because now we have 4 people instead of 2 on this hotel room. It's like, sure, yeah, this worked out really well. And then like we met, and I was like, this is like a best friend for life right here, dog. Like we clicked so well. It was awesome.
because I had like stuff. The universe did not want me to go to YCS Philly. My ride fell through. My original housing thing fell through. I ended up like misinterpreting and got there a day early. And so, like, I didn't have a place to stay Thursday night. But thankfully, Eva Lee's and Zara, 5th Rate Duelist, like, let me crash on the couch of their Airbnb. And so, like, it worked out perfectly. But I remember, like, the first time actually meeting Caleb in person is, Eva, Zara, and I are out for breakfast. And then Dyer, Caleb, and Congo Line Larry, like, Dyer, Yugioh, Congo Line Larry, and Caleb all walk in. And I'm like, yo! Ooh. And I meet Caleb, and I just like... This dude's cool.
Dog, that was the wildest series of events because Jacob, Congo and Larry, Jacob, he and I are like, we need somewhere to eat. I think I may have interacted with Eva and she said like, this is where, we'll be here or something. I don't remember exactly, but we're like, this is where we're going to go eat, I guess. And as we were about to cross the street, I hear, Caleb! And I look over and it's someone I'm like, I've never seen them before in my life. It's like, it's Dyer. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, holy shit. I don't know if she and I had ever interacted before that moment. Like, I could be wrong, but I don't think we ever had. But it's like, hell yeah. And so then we go in and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get food with Eva and I think some other people. I don't know who else is there. And then we meet. And then, do you remember we were sitting having breakfast and Dyer was like, yeah, I need Zeus for my list. I don't know if I can get it in time.
Yes. And there's like a table right behind us. Some dude turns around and he's like, yo, you need a Zeus? And suddenly just pulls a Zeus out of his backpack and he's like, don't ask me why, I have 30. And just gives Dyer a Zeus.
This is like,
and she's like,
this was an expensive card still.
Are you sure about this? And he's like, yes. Don't ask me why, but I do have 30. And like, shows like a stack of Zeus. He's like, I
really want to ask
not
why.
I'm not a whale. I'm not collecting them for a reason. It's like there's a series of events behind this. I won't go into details, but here, just you can have it. And Dyer's like,
that's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
That's the funniest. Wow, that's incredible.
It was awesome. It was such an.
You
insane
cannot
thing.
ask me why.
You can't ask me.
That's
why.
so funny.
I'm pretty sure that they've interacted independently around that. Like again, I could have sworn I saw a tweet of them interacting, and he was like, "Yeah, Dyer, you gotta top with that Zeus or something like that."
I need to step out for a moment. I will be right back.
Podcast is ruined. I can't believe it.
You think he's pooping? You think he's gonna poop?
Look, we gotta take bets. What do you think he's doing? I think pooping's probably a likely
pooping.
one. Pooping.
Meeting with the mafia. Collecting DoorDash from the mafia.
From the mafia.
Pooping with the mafia.
Pooping with the mafia.
Uh,
Crossing streams with the mafia.
For sure. That means peeing together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the mafia.
Yeah, with the
sure.
mafia. Yeah.
Killing
a guy with the mafia.
Could be that the mafia was responsible for that Zeus, and because he just told that story, they're here and they're like, "We told you not to freak."
Wait, hold on. I'm hearing a knocking at my door.
Oh my god, me too.
It's over.
They wasn't there. They just told me. I swear. It's just like the GTA cops where it's just like you bump their mirror and like instantly you have like 5 stars and helicopters are coming to kill you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen? I have. Where I'm just like driving normal. I actually do the challenge sometimes where I'm trying to obey traffic laws, but I just gotta turn.
But it's impossible because
I gotta turn wrong.
They have like 10 sec. They have like 3-second traffic lights, and even the AI doesn't obey them.
And cars don't obey them. Yeah. Cars don't obey them. And so like I'm obeying, and sometimes the cop will hit me. and then they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you," and I'm like, "What?"
Normal
like,
police
what is this
response.
real life? Like,
Stop resisting! It's supposed to be a game. It's a game. Stop.
I need escapism. Don't act like the real cops.
Stop. Oh my.
Sorry, we probably shouldn't say this anymore.
No,
Sorry,
it's okay.
but-
We're like 90 minutes into the podcast. It's fine. Only real shufflers listen this far. I say that actually. I feel like
right now.
podcasts probably have some of the best retention rate out of any content because, like, if you're listening to a podcast, you're probably listening most of the way.
You listen to the podcast, yeah.
So
like,
if you're
I'm gonna
here,
listen to this.
if you're a real shuffler, make sure to comment down below. Or if you're listening on a platform that doesn't have those, at me on Twitter. Let me know. Shout out to all my real shufflers. We appreciate you. Please give us money. But
I'm just kidding. Don't tell us that. Just a bit, folks. It was just a bit.
It's just a bit.
It's not that deep.
I'm
scared. Sometimes I do bits and I got to do a lot of cleanup after, and I don't want to do that, folks. Sometimes only I know I'm kidding, and everybody's like, what's he saying?
What did you just say about Power World?
Dog, I was just like, oh, you don't like that? You should play this game instead. Everybody's like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you can. Sorry, I was just, there's stuff around it that's like blatantly right there, and if you don't like it, you don't play it. If you don't care, play it. I don't care what you do. It's what.
Anyway, play Cassette Beasts.
Play Cassette Beasts. It's awesome, actually. If you want a game that is a little more true to Pokemon and not like Pokemon but Fortnite/Rust, you should try Cassette Beasts for real. It's a cool twist on it, and the music is awesome.
I would hope so.
It's very relaxing.
If it's cassette.
I know, right? If it's called,
you're like,
it better be good. It's like a nice, relaxing game. It's very low key. If you like, so I really love being able to play a game that's really low key and casual while I'm watching a show and just vibing, hanging out. And that's one of those games you can do that with. It's really, really fun. You don't have to be like so in on the game, you know what I mean? So it's cool. It doesn't like require your full attention at all times. Yeah, I've been into games like that. Like, I've been into more casual gaming.
Hell yeah.
As of late, it's been fun to find stuff like that. I just started a game called Arise. It was on sale for like $2 during like a winter game sale.
Hell yeah.
It's a very like deep emotional game, but the gameplay itself is very casual. You like wake up in what I think is the afterlife, and you're going through what I think so far is your childhood, like your memories, and it's like very touching, but not like you're not like it's not like so deep that it's like gonna I don't think it'll ignite trauma or anything like that. But it's like a really interesting light take on just the taking like the concept of what I think is death from the way it begins and like making it kind of beautiful. It's interesting. I think I would highly recommend. But it's like a very casual game too. Like you don't have to cry while you play it or anything. And it's not like so. Again, it's not one of those games where you just gotta be like locked in so hard you can't pay attention to the world around you. If you're a tired adult like I am, sometimes I don't have the capacity to like really zone in on a game after a hard day's work because it feels like more work. And these games don't feel that way. So yeah, it's nothing to do with anything, but I'm just sharing my thoughts.
Yeah,
Speaking
of,
if you made it here, baby.
Yeah, this is the real raw riffs right here.
This is it.
Yeah. Speaking of great games, have you ever? Oh, Nash is back. He's pogging so hard. You ever tried the award-winning game, free up through level 60 experience, now featuring both expansions past A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Shadowbringers Final Fantasy XIV? No,
but I've heard it's great. Is it fun?
It is actually really fun. So I have tried to play this.
So what is Final Fantasy? I've never heard of this before. Is it kind of like Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, it's
Oh wait,
based
wait,
off
no,
that.
hold on. I actually had a friend who I had mentioned this. He's like, that game, like, is that like Kingdom Hearts? Like that, like that's the same thing, right? I was like, dog, I have the funniest shit to tell you. And he lost. He's like, there's no fucking way. Honestly, I'm thinking maybe we actually make a Patreon finally, and I might cut some of this end piece here, leave people in suspense if they want to see it. We talked a little bit about some of our own personal interests, a little outside of some of the main discussion points that I think are really cool, worth listening to, but maybe just a little tease. So if randomly it cuts and you're hearing this, check out the Patreon. Thank you for supporting us. Where does the money go?
Link down in the below.
To I don't actually know.
To your favorite charity, Riff and Shuffle.
Yeah, it goes to something in relation to us three. It supports us in some way. We'll figure it out. Production quality, I don't know.
I don't care.
It pays for YCF Indy 2024.
Actually, that might be what it pays for.
It could. Yeah, it could. For sure. Which I'm already, like, you know, I guess
you're there already.
So excited
travel.
Yeah, that's what it would pay for.
Like,
he's like, wow, I guess I'm not getting any of that money. Well, fuck you guys.
No, it's fine. I don't care. It's okay. Take it. Don't even tell me about it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pocket it. No problem. Actually, so sorry. The funding is going into it's funding my crack addiction.
Oh,
perfect.
Okay.
First thing I was gonna say. I hope you were gonna say crack addiction. So
yeah.
I'm glad that.
I know that you support me fully and deeply.
Big fan of crack addiction.
Big fan. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for listening.
Jokes, it was a bit. It was a bit.
It was a bit.
No.
We'll cut it somewhere in there.
That's the secret about
perfect.
me. I'm never doing a bit. I'm always doing a bit.
I'm always hard. What?